Hey everybody, it's Eric from epautos.com, your Libertarian car guy, and I'm going to do a quick little video rant about the 2018 Subaru Crosstrek. It looks a lot like last year's Crosstrek, but it's actually all new. The new chassis is Subaru's global platform, and the Crosstrek is the first one to have this. The previous gen Crosstrek was based on the Impreza, and I'm assuming that the next gen Impreza is probably going to share the chassis as well. Some of you might be a little bit confused about where Subaru has gone with their model lineup. It used to be that the Outback was sort of their entry-level, go-anywhere bonsai vehicle. But now the current Outback is based on the Legacy, which is a much larger vehicle and also a more luxurious and expensive vehicle. So the Crosstrek kind of fills the void left by the original Outback and has the same appealing qualities. It's very affordable, about $21,000 and change to start, and of course, like all Subarus except for the BRZ, it comes standard with all-wheel drive and nearly 9 inches of ground clearance, and that plus Subaru's symmetrical torque vectoring all-wheel drive system is what really separates this thing from other vehicles in the class. Which include models like the Mazda CX-3 and the Honda HR-V, and they both have merits of their own. I personally think the CX-3 is probably the best looking small crossover, and it is a lot of fun to drive. But it's a sporty crossover, and it's really not meant to be taken off-road. It's really not that good as far as snow day driving goes. Same goes for the HR-V, which has about 2.5 inches less ground clearance. And in addition to that, neither of them have the Boxer engine, of course, which is a Subaru unique thing. And what's the advantage of that? Well, the flat 4 engine is flat, which means it lays low in the chassis. Each of the pairs of cylinders sit opposing each other across a common crankshaft, boxing each other. So that cancels out vibrations, plus the engine is low in the car, and that is a kind of counterbalance to the fact that the thing rides high up off the ground. Some other things worth mentioning as well: you can still get a manual transmission in the Crosstrek, and while you can get that in rivals like the HR-V, you can't get it in the HR-V with all-wheel drive. They only offer it with the front-wheel drive version of that thing, and the Mazda CX-3, much as I love it, is automatic only. So there's that to take into account. What else have they done for 2018? The overall length is actually a smidgen less than previously. Literally, it's about 1/10 of an inch less long, but the wheelbase has been extended significantly versus the previous model, and what that's done is made it possible to carve out a bit more room in the back seat. Now, the Crosstrek has always been pretty roomy on the inside. Oh God, for safety. That's the one thing I don't like about these Subarus. They're a little bit over-safetied. Safety. Anyway, sorry. So, as you can see, the back seats here are actually pretty roomy. And again, I'm going to do my lurch test here just to show you. The front seat is positioned for me, and I'm 6'3", so I'm taller, lankier, and bigger than most people probably. And I'm now sitting in the back seat of the Crosstrek. And as you can see, I've got, what's that look like to you? I would say that's a good 6 inches of space between my knees and the fronts of the seat back. So this vehicle actually has a lot of room inside, despite the fact that it is nominally considered to be a compact crossover. Now, the Mazda CX-3, on the other hand, has less backseat room and substantially less cargo room, particularly behind the second row with the seats still in place. This thing has literally twice the cargo capacity with the seats still in place. The CX does have about 44 and something with the second row folded down, but then again, you lose the cargo capacity, and this one still has 50-something cubic feet of cargo capacity with the seats down. So that's in its favor. The Honda HR-V is extraordinarily space efficient, the most space efficient vehicle in the class. It has much more backseat legroom, more than 39 inches, and it's got much more cargo room, both with the back seats up and down, than either the Crosstrek or the Mazda. However, again, it's not nearly as capable. It has less ground clearance, and it does not have as capable an all-wheel drive system. Speaking of that, the symmetrical and all-wheel drive part, the reason they call it symmetrical is because if you're thinking about the vehicle, looking at it from front to rear down the center line here, the engine, half of it is going to be over here, half of it is going to be over here, so that balances out the weight. That's the symmetrical part of it. And the torque vectoring thing is unique also. It is the first time that Subaru has offered that system in a vehicle other than the WRX and the STI, which of course are Subaru's high-performance vehicles. And essentially what that thing does is it works with the ABS system, and it applies braking force to inside wheels when you corner, so it's an assist as far as handling as well as traction. All the other vehicles in the class have a simpler all-wheel drive system that basically does what you'd think it would do, which is to kick power front to back. They're predominantly front-wheel drive biased, meaning that most of the time, most of the engine's power goes to the front wheels, and as those begin to lose traction, the system will automatically kick some of the power back to the rear wheels. The Subaru system is much more sophisticated, so it gives you that advantage both in the corners and in the snow. You probably can't see from here. I'll try and point it over in that direction, but if you can see where my shed is, and in between my shed and my little house over there, that field back there, I took this car back there. Had some stuff I had to do out in the field, and I figured I would check it out, check the ground clearance out, check out the torque vectoring symmetrical all-wheel drive. And that was a perfectly reasonable thing to do. I was not high or drunk, which I would have had to be to do something like that in either the Mazda CX or the Honda HR-V. And since I'm not drunk or high, and I'm generally responsible, I didn't do that to those vehicles because they'd still be back in the field, and they're not meant to do that. This Crosstrek, on the other hand, is designed to do that. So that's why these vehicles are really popular out here in the woods. I live up in Southwest Virginia, up in the mountains, and we get a lot of snow up here, and the weather sometimes is really bad. And Subarus are popular because they'll go through, over, and deal with just about any condition that you can throw at them short of a zombie apocalypse. So anyway, I'll have more up at the website, epautos.com, shortly. And thanks for viewing, and we'll catch up with you again soon.